What's up, college football fans? Sonoy Valente here with the Mean Green Show, joined here this evening with Stephen Hamner, the co-host of QB Spotlight podcast. Stephen, how you doing this evening?
Sonoy, what's up, brother? Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on. Been following your show the past few weeks, man. Do a good job, so we're excited to get on.
Oh yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I know you're a busy guy, man. You're spinning a lot of plates, so I appreciate you coming on. So you really, before we get into, what everybody wants to hear from you, being kind of a quarterback guy, per se, tell me a little bit about your own quarterback,
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah, so probably like a lot of listeners, played football all the way since, I was, 9 or 10. Growing up in Texas,
Oh yeah, you got to.
life, right? Like, there's no flag football. You put on a helmet and you start banging heads.
What's a flag?
Yeah, exactly. Played all the way since then, and then played through college. I stopped like halfway through college, but was quarterback for the majority of the time. And then in high school is when I started having some decent success spinning the ball, if you will, and so was able to get recruited fairly early, fairly young. We ran the spread offense kind of right before the spread offense was a big deal. Crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And so end up going to a small Division III school after my senior year. I was kind of like an FCS level guy / some potential preferred walk-ons at some Division I schools, but I didn't really care about the size. I wanted us to go, and I was like, man, I'll go to this Division III school and just go start right off the bat. So
right.
Sure, I go there, and I was like, damn, people are pretty good. End up getting moved to safety, and then I transferred back to an FCS school that recruited me, and didn't last very long there. Had a pretty unsuccessful quarterback career, but since then have been in the sports performance field.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the background of my quarterbacking, if you will.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, man, just out of curiosity. So, I went to JUCO out of high school, and
Right.
I played linebacker, and when I was there, and man, practice was not fun for me. Like, just we were clacking heads, and it was not fun. And I gotta say, man, I was peeked over at the quarterbacks, and whether they were starting or third string, they're just throwing the ball around. And I mean, was practice a beatdown for you like that, or was it kind of enjoyable?
Well, now you put it that way.
Yeah.
I definitely had a red jersey on my whole life. It was way easier in high school, because in high school we have offense and defense. You don't like in high school. A lot of people play two ways, right? So like half is defense, half is offense, and so defense would go. But people would go from offense to defense. I would just sit with my quarterback coach. We'd like watch film on the bench.
Right.
So super easy. College was a lot tougher just because my head coach was actually a former head coach at Alabama, who won an SEC championship there. He was a hard ass. I still had a red jersey on at least, but definitely more challenging and forgetting plays. And my claim to fame, my only stat I ever recorded in college was throwing a pick six. Very, very unsuccessful.
Yeah. Man, I'll never forget, man. Me and back in my junior college days, me and one of the backup quarterbacks with a few of the other teammates, we went out and we got back pretty late, probably maybe a little bit past 2 a.m. or so, and we had to be on the field at 6:30 p.m. and man, I remember he was complaining. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so tired. Practice is gonna be so hard." And I almost broke down and started crying because, like, man, don't even tell me that, man. I gotta wake up. It's by 7 o'clock. I'm gonna be doing the 10-yard drill with our running back that weighs 220 pounds, and you're gonna be.
We have it easy compared. When I got moved to safety, I was like, this is hard. My legs are tired. So
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's the toughest position, in my opinion, and I feel like that's just not even an opinion. I feel like that's just a fact. So I mean. Takes a different person to be able to do that. So, and you've probably, if you watch the videos, you kind of know my philosophy on G5 football. And I really would like to hear your take coming from, you're in the industry. So, and you work with these guys that are what I'm about to talk about. But, let's say your son hypothetically becomes a highly rated 3-star. Let's say like an 86 type of 3-star, on 24/7, those type of ratings. And he has, your handful of Power 5s, and then he has his G5s, and maybe the G5s are a little bit more like they've been in the game longer. Maybe the Power 5s came in late. Where would you, like, honestly, like, where would you, and with the transfer portal, being able to use it how you can, like, how would you guide your son in that decision making?
Right. That's a good question. I think first and foremost, like, trying to be a good dad, be a good parent. I would, just want him to do whatever is going to make him
For
happy.
sure.
I think where he's wanted is a big deal as well. But at the same time, these recruiters, I won't get into any recruiting stories, but they do a good job of making you feel like you're welcome. And then
Mhm.
that might not always be the case. So I think where you want to go have a fun 4 years and learn and grow and meet your best friends potentially is number one. Then at the same time, you got to look at the goals. Like, all right, son, do you think you really have a chance to play at the next level? If you do,
Mhm.
where's the best school to go that you can be developed? And if you can't
Mhm.
get that guy out, can we transfer? Or do we just say, hey, we didn't have it to make it and just enjoy college? So
Mhm.
you have to weigh the options
Right.
and kind of just, like a typical pros and cons and whatever outweighs the pro or the con is kind of what you're going to decide.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's interesting. Do you value playing time quickly, or are you okay sitting? And these days, not a lot of people, especially the quarterback position, want to sit. Understandably so. But yeah, I think it's probably on an individual basis, and,
Mhm.
and you have to decide what fits what you want long term.
Right, right. And I won't name drop on this video. I might on a later one, so everybody stay tuned. But obviously North Texas is my team. That's where I went to school and everything, and couldn't be a bigger fan of their football team. And we've had one that comes to mind in particular, a quarterback that was committed to us and decommitted, and signed with a Power Five, and
Mhm.
spent 1 year there and transferred out into another Power Five. And he's a good quarterback. I mean, there's no knocking his talent. I mean, he's a really good quarterback. But and there's those stories are a dime a dozen. He's not the only one, obviously. But I just can't help but think, like, man, if you would have came here, there would have been a fair shot. You could have got some serious playing time as a true freshman, not to mention if you only played 4 games, what you could have done your redshirt freshman year. And, but I mean, it's easy for me to say that, being a fan and
Right.
not really being, that close to that, decision. So, but yeah, it's always something that us North Texas fans and all the G5 fans probably, beat
Yeah.
our chest about. That being said, are you a fan of the portal and kind of what it is now and everything?
Yeah, big time. So, because I was, I went to two small, like a FCS in Division 3, but I ended up transferring, uh,
Right.
and so I don't know if the portal would have that big of effect on someone at that level. But I'm definitely a big fan of the portal, and I think there's obviously kinks in it and stuff that's working its way out, but it's still pretty new. Excuse me, but it's really taken off, right? Like, especially like a great example, like yesterday was signing day, right?
Mhm.
No one really heard that much about it. I know y'all did some content, put some stuff out, but like
Mhm.
world still dominated the topic of discussion for the global, the kind
Oh,
of
for sure.
the big scene of things. So I am a fan of it, big time. Yes.
For sure, for sure. And kind of staying on the portal topic for right now. Do you think we could see more of a trend of of what Tanner Mordecai and Chandler Morris did? As far as going to like a QB guru school. Obviously OU. I feel like they've earned that title. What Lincoln Riley's doing up there is pretty phenomenal. Kind of going to a school like that, potentially learning and develop. On a few things,
Yeah.
and then transferring to a place where they feel like they have a better shot to play. Do you think that could be something that we could see trending? And you know what I mean? And kids like I guess what I'm getting at, like kids almost go to a school with the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to go here for, you know, 2, maybe 3 years, knowing that there's a 5-star ahead of me, 5-star with me, and a 5-star coming behind me. So realistically, I'm probably not going to get the playing time, but I can, develop here and then go to somewhere that I could play. Do you think that could be a possibility?
Yeah. And
And
yeah, sorry, go I interrupted
oh,
you.
and if so, I mean, do you think that's a good route potentially for a quarterback to take? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. That's an interesting question. Is
Mhm.
thought provoking, and from my point of view, I think that could happen, but not necessarily on purpose.
Mhm.
Like these kids aren't going, even if they're a 4-star or high 3-star and a 5-star.
Mhm.
Like they're pretty. Like there's a reason that they chose to go there because they think they can.
Sure.
That kid
Sure.
like Tanner Mordecai, the
He's
guy
good.
behind, and like a first round pick, second round pick, and then Spencer Rattler, a future first or second round pick, most likely, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it wasn't like he lost out to any
Right.
scrubs by any means.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely not.
And so I think it can happen. I don't think they necessarily think, okay, I'll go there for a few years and transfer. That may be kind of in the back of their head now,
Mhm.
what's going on.
Mhm.
But I think they see, okay, Lincoln Riley has sent Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts to the NFL. I
Mhm.
want to go to the NFL. Let me go to Lincoln Riley. And then if I don't, oh, well, I can't beat these guys out. This is my
Mhm.
career here. Okay, let me look a different route and take what I've learned here. But I don't think they go with that expectation off the bat
Right.
to play. But then it can develop
Right.
over time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I know, especially these high school athletes, coming out like dominating in high school and getting these offers, the confidence is well warranted. But I feel like I've always been somewhat of a realist, and I've always kind of thought like, okay, if you're a highly rated 3-star guy and there's a 5-star in your class, like, yeah, it's not impossible. I guess we do see it happen from time to time, you beating him out, but um, I don't know. I guess I've always just thought of like they're gonna give that 5-star way more chances than they're gonna give you,
mm-hmm.
and I don't blame him. I mean, like this is a guy who it's just you know you're kind of in there for. I feel like you're kind of there for an insurance policy, which
Right,
is not a bad thing, but
sure.
let me ask you this: Could
Yeah.
you also see the portal going the other way? Maybe like some of the higher end guys electing to go to a school where they have a good chance of getting on the field significantly faster, with the thought of transferring to a bigger name down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe going to a G5 where if I went to this certain Power Five, it's going to be year 3 before I get on. Where if I go to this G5, I'll redshirt, but I'll get my 4 years, or my 4 games in
Yeah.
redshirt. My redshirt freshman year, I'll play, potentially start, and then transfer up. Do you think that could be something trending?
So that's another interesting question and thought too, because I think there's so many. I think the transfer portal, is still relatively new. There's so many ways that kids, especially quarterbacks, are going to be able to find to use for their benefit as they should.
Mhm.
Um, so like a few examples of that now, without even being on purpose, would be like a Jack Abraham from Southern Miss going
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
right. Anthony Russo from Temple going to Michigan State. Uh,
Yep.
and so those are just two examples off the top of my head. Now they didn't go to those schools thinking I'm going to transfer in a few years, but I think that
Right.
would be something uh, that enters, like let's say like a high 3-star kid.
Mhm.
He said, I'm going to go here to dominate and then go up here to this other school. I mean, that's probably the best way to look at things because
Mhm.
uh, you want to you want to go somewhere you can envision yourself for 4 years probably. And
Right.
then, I expect when they get there, they find out, hey, these kids are pretty good too. Like there's some good.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
if you think you could see that route, I don't know necessarily on purpose, but
Mhm.
if a true freshman starts at a G5 school, let's say a true freshman comes to UNT, blows up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
ECU doesn't have a quarterback. He might be
Mhm.
shoot. I mean, Coach P, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting thought and definitely could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I won't ask your, opinion on the matter because I know you don't want to name drop, but I know you work with a lot of these guys that we're talking about, so I'm not going to ask your opinion on the matter, but I'll
Sure.
say mine. Jack Abraham specifically, it's just so perplexing to me, and maybe he'll make me eat crow.
Yeah.
But he was productive at Southern Miss, and and now he's going to Mississippi State, and I don't know, man. I just feel like you're playing quarterback. That's the hardest position to get on the field.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're playing at a, you
Yeah.
know, and no, I mean, you're playing at a D1 school, Conference USA, and I mean, it's not the best conference in the country, but that's a D1.
R-
Um, yeah, you're the quarterback, and you really want to risk that to go potentially hold the clipboard. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's just. I mean, I guess I'm more of a safe hedge your bets guy.
Right. I would say
But
I would say with that example, because I'm the same way. I'm like, man, you've been starting here. Why don't you want to do this? But like when you put like yourself in like a competitor's shoes, it's like, hey, I've been
yeah,
started for 3 years. I got a new coaching staff.
yeah,
Going to the league, maybe not. I don't know.
hmm
Chances maybe going up to this school, play for Mike Leach, and just rip it
hmm
down. And if not, oh well, I tried.
yeah,
I see both point of view. Guys like
yeah,
sometimes like he's probably thinking, hell yeah, I can start up there. Let's
for
go.
sure.
Yeah. So
For sure, for sure. Do you even know the answers to these questions? And I do have questions for you from
yeah.
Twitter and everything, but this is not even one of those. But so with this COVID year, is everybody who transfers immediately eligible?
That's a good question. I think so. That
I
would
think so too, but
be a question I would ask my co-host on my podcast, Eric C. Henry. You can follow him on Twitter.
oh yeah, Eric, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. He would know that off the bat. That's something. Yeah, he would know that off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that is the case with COVID. It's like, okay, I just for some reason I thought I heard that through the grapevine, but then I see on 24/7 um that some of it's like pending approval, like eligibility pending. So I don't know. And I've also heard, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's talks about maybe it's already done. Again, I don't know, but where they're going to change the transfer rule where you get one free transfer, not including your grad transfer, and you get to play that one time immediately. Have you heard the rumors about that, or do you
Yeah,
know
I
anything?
think that's starting this year, actually.
Oh, so that would be like, so you're talking about when you say starting this year, so like the fall of 2021, the kids who transferred would probably be able to go and
Yeah, I believe so. I wouldn't quote me on it, but I
yeah,
believe so. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Are you a fan of that? Like that, like
I like having a one transfer rule, right? Yeah,
I
I
do too. Yeah,
think it makes it kind of entertaining for us fans.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
for sure.
yeah, like why does the kid have to sit out if he wants to
Yeah.
else, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I absolutely. I think if we're talking about it, and not just you and me, obviously you and I, um, but others. I mean, talking about it a lot. So I feel like must be successful.
yeah.
Um, well, all right, man. Well, I got some questions for you. I know kind of putting you on the spot here,
Good.
but just if you can just do your best. We all want to hear, what your thoughts are. So this one is from Ryan Payne. And he says, he's geared more kind of QB specific, but I guess it could pertain to, really all positions. But do you feel like if a kid signs his LOI and then there is a coaching change, maybe a different quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, or head coach, that kid should be able to decommit and go shop another school?
I think definitely a head coach, 100%.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you can get to like assistant coaches because that turnaround
Yeah,
happens so quickly. It'd be like
yeah,
crazy to keep up with, but definitely head coaches. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they want to go play for some guy and then he leaves, so.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Green Blooded. Okay, here we go. Watch out. We got us UNT, we got a new quarterback in the portal, so we're all real chomping at the bit to figure out more about him. But
Right.
so again, it's from Green Blooded. Is the inherent talent so large in Jace Reuter out of North Carolina that we not only believe it is to be possible, but likely he takes the starting job at North Texas?
Yeah. So you might have a better answer to that on me, just because you're probably more familiar with Asanani and who else they have behind. But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely uh,
Let me couple it with this question because I got two one from Bobby, who they're kind of around the same. So just we can kind of maybe try to answer this at the same time, maybe
yeah.
if you will. So this is from Bobby. What is the scoop behind Jace Reuter leaving UNC, and what should we be expecting from him at UNT? He has very little tape at the collegiate level, so it's hard to know if his injuries have impacted him. I think I have a list of his injuries. Give me 1 second of what they are.
Yep.
I think he was injured 2 years in a row. Let's see. If I can pull these up real quick. Okay, guess not. But I think one was like a collarbone, and one was maybe something like a leg, or I don't think they were like quarterback altering injuries, like like a throwing arm or anything like that. But basically, I mean, you're between the green blooded and Bobby is, do we think he can come in and compete, potentially take the starting job, day one, being that he's not going to be here for spring football? And I'll give my personal unprofessional opinion of the quarterbacks that played last year as Austin Ani and Jason Bean. Jason Bean transferred, Austin Ani still there. I was a fan. I like him and everything, but he's never really separated. I don't know how much of North Texas film you watched, but never really pulled away from Jason Bean. And it was just, we had co-starters the whole year, so we're wanting an established starter. And I guess let me ask, so being the film that you have seen of him, whether it be high school or his limited college film, do you feel like he's a G5 potential like really good quarterback? Like, what are your thoughts on him?
So he was pretty raw coming out of high school, from what I remember. I think he's a pretty
Mhm.
athlete, Jace Reuter. And,
Right. Yeah,
um,
he's a dual threat for sure.
and I believe, was it Kansas maybe? I remember. So I did a
He's out of Kansas. Yeah.
okay. So I did a decent breakdown of him actually. Like I want to say 2 years ago, Sam Howell's incoming freshman year, and
Mhm.
he was part of the quarterback competition. Uh, so I think that's one is encouraging that Sam Howell didn't just come in, just take the job right away.
Right.
There's a good competition. And two, Sam Howell's going to be a pretty high picked quarterback probably in this next year's draft. So
Mhm.
he lost a job to any scrub. He lost it to a future NFL quarterback. So
For sure.
I think, and he definitely has tools. He has tools to be good at Power 5 level. And with as far as how he fits in with North Texas is so Austin Aune, I think shows like glimpses. You probably agree with
Mhm.
that. Had
Yeah,
some
definitely. Yeah.
consistency, right? Like, but I think that's sometimes within that style of offense, it's kind of feast or famine. And you had your stud receiver. Is it Jalen Dart? Is that?
Yes, last year. Yep.
And he's gone now.
Yeah, he's going to the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the big plays were with him. So now you take,
Mhm.
okay, now like, where's that safety blanket? What are you going to do? So if my memory serves me correct, Austin Aune's completion percentage was under 55, right? It was like,
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
it wasn't like super high. And it was his first year starting. So it's given
Yeah.
break. And at the same time, North Texas fans are spoiled with because of Mason Fine, right?
Yes, we were. Absolutely.
Quarterback play, right? So I don't think it was all. I think the quarterback issues were maybe magnified at North Texas. I know I'm going off topic. For the fact that the defense was so bad. I know y'all get onto the defense.
Sure. We got a new DC though, and so
Right, yeah. So, but I think like quarterback always gets magnified, and y'all still put up a decent amount of points offensively. So I don't think there's as much, quarterback fault as others. But to answer the question, 100%, it should be an open competition. I imagine it being pretty close, and Austin Aune obviously has the advantage because he's been there. But we'll see. But yeah, 100% competition. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. This one's from Oscar. He says, from a QB trainer perspective, how do you feel like 7-on-7 is changing the game as far as play calling, in regular football, QB development, etc.?
Yeah, so I think it's huge. It shouldn't be the only thing because it's totally different when you're throwing in shorts, and then when you have freaking beast Muhammad's coming at you trying to hit you, like a totally different ball game. But the reps and the experience, you get so many more reps throwing, you get so many more routes throwing with your receivers, and so I think that helps develop tremendously. I think it's been part of the reason why we've seen quarterbacks being able to play at such a younger age. Traditionally 10, 12 years ago, a quarterback comes in, and if he starts his sophomore year, people are like, oh wow, it's pretty early. Usually you sit a year, your junior year, and now a kid comes in like they expect, like freshman year, hey, I'm ready. I've been doing 7-on-7 since I was yay high. I got my quarterback coach, like I can freaking spin it. I know everything there is, and so I think 7-on-7 has been big. Sometimes it can be too big at times. You can put too much stock into it, just like any tool that helps you develop as a football player. But I definitely think it's been a big part. It kind of came around the time probably we were in high school, from 05 to 09 for me, and that's when like it really kind of was interesting to us, and now it's just picked up steam over time. People play 7-on-7 year round essentially.
Right. Absolutely. Well, hey Steven, I mean, I feel like that pretty much wraps it up. I know you're a busy man. I'll let you get back to your wife and son. Once again, I appreciate you coming on, man. I look forward to doing this again with you in the future. Really, I love love having your opinion on things, and very insightful, and very much appreciated here on the Mean Green Show.
Very kind. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. As always, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps the channel grow. And give Steven a follow at QB Spotlight is his Twitter handle, and him and Eric. What's his last name again?
Eric C. Henry is his Twitter handle.
Eric C. Henry, FIU guy. So Conference USA people, you know what's up. They do a tremendous job with the QB Spotlight podcast. Again, super insightful information. It'll really help you, appreciate the quarterback play a lot more, just not only at the G5 level, but also at the Power 5. So be sure to tune into that podcast. And, yep. Once again, guys, thanks as always.